He tames animals because he dash. Now, these are sentence fillers, right? We'll have to choose the appropriate option that will complete the sentence grammatically and meaningfully. The strategy that we will apply for this sort of a question type is also pretty much identifying hint words and clue words or phrases in the given context. So in the given context, which is he tames animals because, and then we need a reason, right? Because is a cause and effect hint word or reason hint word. So our options are option A, seldom loves them, option B is afraid of them, option C is fond of them, option D hates them, and option E wants to set them free. So our clue word in the context is tames, right? Now, if I am taming something, which means I am basically bringing an animal from the wild and domesticating it, right? So tame is our clue word, which means to domesticate a wild animal, right? Having said that, so why would somebody go ahead and capture a wild animal and domesticate it? Because probably they want to keep the animal with them, right? They must be animal lovers. A little bit of selfishness there because they want the animal for themselves, right? But so let's look at the options. So why is this person taming the animal? He seldom loves them. Seldom again is a hint word for us in option A, which means hardly, right? Or rarely, which cannot be the case, right? If he hardly loves animals, why would he even go through the process of doing this? So option A can be ruled out. Option B is afraid of them. If you're afraid of a wild animal, then you wouldn't take this courageous or bold step to first of all capture the wild animal and then domesticate it. So option B can also be ruled out. Option C is fond of them. Fond means to like, right? I'm fond of you. I like you a lot, right? Which means this could be our answer. However, let's look at the remaining two options before we fix on C. Option D, hates them. Definitely an animal lover or somebody who goes through the trouble of domesticating a wild animal cannot hate animals. So option D is also ruled out. Option E, wants to set them free. Now, if that was the intention, he wouldn't even capture it in the first place, right? Anyway, the animal is free in the wild. So why would he do that? So wants to set them free also is not the right option. So the option here is he tames animals because he is fond of them. Option C. My mother is so poor, dash, right? Again, we're looking at the context, we're trying and identifying hint words and clue words. Now, the quick hint for us is obviously so poor, right? So, the mother is so poor that, right? That's the obvious construction. If we are familiar with, in terms of correlative conjunctions, right? Not only but also either or, neither nor, so as, so that, right? Now, the only option that gives us that construction is option D. Right? So my mother is so poor that she cannot buy food for us, right? So having said this, right? Right? It's not, any of the other options are not the right construction grammatically, right? My mother is so poor to send me to school. My mother is so poor because she will not work. My mother is so poor to get medical help for my father. So we can go with the construction, which is so that. All the other options are incorrect. Can you lend me a pencil, please? Right? So here again our clue word is lend, which means can you give me? Right? Can you give me a pencil, please? Yes, you can. Option A. Option A pretty much focuses on the ability of that person to be able to give you the pencil. Not the right answer. Yes, here you. Awkward construction. Yes, here, incomplete construction. Yes, here it is. Here it refers to the pencil, completing the construction grammatically and meaningfully, right? So this is our answer. Can you lend me a pencil, please? Yes, here it is. Johnny, where are you? So in response to this clue phrase in the context for us is where are you, right? So where are you? Here I am. Option A. We don't even have to think twice or break our head over this. Here I am up this tree. Right? Not here am I, not there I am, not there am I. None of the other options fit contextually. Johnny, where are you? Here I am up this tree. Option A is our answer. I don't know the time. And then we have constructions A, B, C, D. A, at which the accident happened. B, the accident happened. C, when the accident happened. D, when the accident had happened. Okay. So let's quickly look at all of our options, right? So here our clue word in the context is itself the time, right? I don't know the time, and then we're looking at the accident happening being the main event, right? So I don't know the time at which the accident happened. So for me, at which seems a little not just redundant, but it's more pertaining to the place, right? But that's not what the context is saying. The context being, the focus being the time, I wouldn't go with option A because it's not a very effective construction, right? So we're going to rule out option A. I don't know the time the accident happened, seems fine. I don't know the time the accident happened, right? But let's look at the remaining options. I don't know the time when the accident happened. Again, for me, like I said, the time and when is the same, right? It's kind of redundant for me in meaning. So I will rule out option C. And the same is with option D as well. When the accident had happened. So here it's just simple present. I don't know the time. We don't need a past perfect tense here. So we can rule out option D as well. And our answer is option B. I don't know the time the accident happened. Now let's kind of spend a little bit more time to understand why the other options are definitely not the right answer. Now for example, if you look at C, right, I don't know the time when the accident happened. Like I said, one is redundancy of the time and when. Both mean the same. I don't know when the accident happened. I don't know the time the accident happened, right? I don't need both in the context. That's one. The second one is also when, as a subordinating conjunction, kind of always gets associated with a dependent clause, right? I'm sure you understand dependent clause, independent clause. Let's quickly look at an example. So if I say, when the doorbell rang, Anu slammed shut her textbook and rose to pay for her pizza. So basically, Anu is reading a book. Maybe she's placed an order for the pizza. So as soon as the doorbell rang, she knows that her delivery is here, right, at the doorstep. So when the doorbell rang, Anu slammed shut her textbook and rose to pay for her pizza. So when you look at it, when the doorbell rang, right, now this is a dependent clause. It cannot stand on its own, right? When the doorbell rang, what happened? Anu slammed shut her textbook and rose to pay for her pizza is a independent clause. It can stand on its own, right? So when, the function of when here is, it is connecting both the dependent and independent clause, right? That's how this conjunction works here. So in our context again, there is no need for when. It's almost like a unnecessary question in a statement, right? It's not a question here. I don't know the time the accident happened is a statement. So why introduce, there is no need for a conjunction 1, where we just saw the function of when as a conjunction, right? And also an unnecessary question in between the statement also is not required. So we can safely rule out option C and D. And like I said again, option A, I don't know the time at which the accident happened. Just to let you know, conversationally people do talk this way, but grammatically, construction-wise, it's not a very effective statement, right? I don't know the time at which the accident happened is again not required. So for me, at basically looks at something more specific, right? Where all of that kind of brings in more of the location. So we can rule out option A as well. And again, which as a, let's say for example, a pronoun. The same concept can apply. An unnecessary question in between a statement, which. Also, which as a, relative pronoun kind of refers to a thing. Here, we're talking about time and specific. So, like I said, not a very effective statement, so we can rule that out. And we'll stick with option B, which is grammatically and meaningfully correct. I don't know the time the accident happened. It's like saying, I don't know the time of the accident.